Well, Congress is going to have to address this. The county has to be a partner. And what we've done, I was able to get the ICE program adopted in our county, and that's where we have immigration officers training our sheriff's personnel to go through those people that are here in the jails, who are here illegally, that are able to be deported back to Mexico after they serve their time. And so expanding that program, we can continue to do that. That will be a step forward. But what I would like to see our government do, you know, the world is dependent upon oil for the time as we're moving to alternative sources of energy. Mexico's cartel controls their oil system. I mean, it's a cartel, it's a monopoly, they're an associate member of OPEC. I would like to see our government encourage Mexico to do what is being done in China, the Dominican Republic, Eastern Europe, where they're privatizing their state-run industries. That would break up the monopoly of the fat cats who are living off the sweat of their citizens, and privatize that and allow us to get a more cost per barrel ratio of oil from Mexico, which makes a lot of sense, where it just comes across a few miles versus having to take it over from, transport it from Saudi Arabia to the United States. I would like to see partnerships with Mexico and American medical schools, where on the Mexican side of our border states, we would build comprehensive health centers. They would be teaching hospitals where American and Mexican health professionals could teach Mexican citizens to be doctors and health professionals and provide that type of aid instead of having the Mexicans coming over here illegally, having their children, and then going on welfare, which the children do. I would like to see what local government has done as far as helping law enforcement, and that's where we have reserve officers who are trained and become reserve deputies or reserve police officers. Have the Immigration Homeland Security have a reserve officer component where you train the personnel and they work to assist the Border Patrol agents, so you have additional personnel to see what is being done for enforcement of the law. And then instead of discussing, do you build a fence or you don't build a fence, we know in San Diego where we did build a fence, it had reduced illegal immigration. Well, we ought to aggressively pursue the building of the fence. And if we're going to put in high-tech technology, that we know it's going to work before we put it in, instead of putting it in and finding out it doesn't work, now we have to work out the bugs. I would like to see, just as we were able to effectively mobilize our country when we were attacked in World War II, to build the necessary aircraft, train the necessary officers, our 90-day wonders, our officers, and have a sophisticated defense to win and fight tyranny and be successful. We need that same type of commitment relative to controlling our borders, where we have a threat, especially today with some of the terrorists going around and coming in. The 14th Amendment was aimed at African Americans who are not declared full citizens, and so we recognize that African Americans were American citizens. Because of slavery, that provision of the law was unconstitutional, had to be changed under the amendment, and that was done. It was not meant to reward people who come here illegally to have children, to have automatic citizenship. And there have been what we have here is some court opinions, decisions that have made today a child born here, regardless of their parents' immigration status, legal citizens. But there are very few, if any, countries in the world where if you're born in that country, you are a citizen of China, of England, or wherever. You're a citizen of your parents' birthright, not by the geography. And that law ought to be changed. It's a decision that the courts have made. I should say that decision has to be changed either legislatively or judicially. And there was, in the Hammett case that was up about a year or so ago, there were some briefs filed to get the court to look at that issue. The court did not take it up. They ruled on some other areas, but there's a large number of legal scholars that have written on this, that it has to be addressed. You have Congressman Bilberry and others who have introduced legislation to make this take the citizenship, automatic citizenship away from those who come here illegally for their children, and that's to be debated in Congress. And those are good issues that we ought to be asking our presidential, congressional, and senatorial candidates in this election. What is your position? Will you support that law? Well, you drive down the freeway and you see the freeway signs and they have graffiti. You drive down streets, you find a lot of graffiti. And we have, graffiti cleanup programs, and it's costing millions of dollars to clean up. But as soon as you clean up, they come back and they, again, put on the graffiti. It's a terrible problem, and people should be speaking out, and the courts should be enforcing those laws, so when we catch those who do those types of crime, they ought to be punished. But right now, we have a breakdown. It's just basically they turn a blind eye, and it does impact the quality of life. I was born and raised in Los Angeles City, in South Central Los Angeles, and we did have a better quality of life relative to the issues you just mentioned. And it should be addressed, and it should be discussed. And there's such parts of the media try to make any type of discussion of immigration as being racist, when it's a legal issue we're talking about. It's not a racial issue, it's a legal issue. And if you're going to have a nation of laws, then let's enforce the law. And if they don't like the law, then change the law. But you can't do it by ignoring the law and expect to have a high quality of life, of respect for any law or future law, if you're going to permit law breaking and then reward it with taxpayer dollars. People who are coming here illegally are being exploited. They're being abused. They're being killed. They're being sold into slavery, basically. And if they don't perform, they get rid of them. I mean, it's a very their human rights are being abridged. And we talk about human rights. Those people have rights, and they should be protected. And the only way they can be protected is if we have a legal process for people to come here legally, and we don't reward those who come here illegally. Right. And we need to enforce the law on that basis. Let me just also say, when we have legal immigration, you have to take a health test, TB. This allows us to screen people before they come in if they have some serious health problems. And they can get those health problems corrected before they come in. Where if you allow legal immigration, people have health problems, they come in without any understanding of the quality of life or their impact that they're going to have. And when you look at the fact that those people who are working in the food service industry may not have had a health checkup if they're here legally, they're contaminating all of the people that they come in contact with. And it's a serious problem.